The Innocents.
Hello guys and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. My name is Marty, hope you're doing very well, and yes, I am dressed like this because today we're going to be watching The Innocents from 1961. I didn't know that this was a horror film, and I also didn't know that people were dressing like this kind of thing, and yes, that is a tie, that isn't the proper thing that I need. It'll make do for now. By the way, thank you so much for requesting this one. I've heard some really good things about this. It looks like it's a lot older than 1961. Either way, I'm really excited. I've got a coffee here, so grab your coffee and grab your popcorn as well. Don't forget, if you want to check out the uncut reaction, you can see it over on Patreon or as a YouTube member. By the way, if you love classic films, I've got a whole playlist. One of the classics you might like, if you like this, is The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. By the way, before we start, I'm going to take off this coat because it is far too hot here. Hope you guys don't mind. But yes, without further ado, this is The Innocents from 1961.
We lay, my love and I,
Creepy.
and weep beside the tree, singing all.
Really creepy. Like, is it meant to be just black? Wait, yeah, all of this before the 20th Century Fox logo? Yeah, it's in widescreen, like letterbox widescreen as well. Deborah Kerr in The Innocents. Oh, based on the story of the Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I've heard of that. I really like that shot with the empty space on the right for the titles.
More than anything, I love children.
God, look at that emotion in her face. The beads of sweat on her forehead as well.
They need affection, love, someone who will belong to them, and to whom they will belong.
May I ask you a somewhat personal question? Do you have an imagination?
Yes, I was just imagining that.
Oh, yes, I can answer that. Yes.
Truth is very seldom understood by any but imaginative persons. I'm a bachelor. Not, I might add, a lonely one. I spend a great deal of time abroad. As for my London life, it's not the sort of amusement that one could share with children.
She a nanny?
Miss Giddens, I'm a very selfish fellow. I'm the last man alive to be saddled so suddenly and so awkwardly with two orphaned infants.
Maybe then, maybe nanny.
I have no room for them, neither mentally nor emotionally. Does that seem quite heartless?
Yeah.
Honest, but not heartless.
It's nice that he's being honest, yeah,
The
but...
children do not live with you.
No, they are at my country estate in Bly. Still, I'm sure you'll agree with me, the country seems the proper thing for children. Oh, I see from your letter that you are yourself the daughter of a country parson. More than anything, I love children.
Yes.
Little Miles and Flora, charming names, don't you think?
There was a really weird thing about that when she was like, yes.
Have had only me. Poor brats. They need more than a distant uncle. Someone to whom they can belong and who will belong to them.
Yeah, family, a proper family, not just someone who's there as a father figure.
I feel that you are that person.
This would be my first position.
What does that signify? If I trust you, you trust me. The person whom I engage, full and complete responsibility. She must never trouble me. Neither complain, nor appeal, nor write. What do you say, Miss Giddens?
To basically just be the surrogate single mother.
The children, have they had a governess before?
Governess, then.
Not that there was anything wrong with Miss Jessel. The children quite liked her, especially little Flora.
I like the name.
Be careful not to broach that subject to Flora. She was so fond of Miss Jessel, and it did come as an appalling shock.
Why? What happened?
She died.
Because of the children?
The confounded woman died. My nephew had to be sent off to school. The little girl, Flora, is being chaperoned by my housekeeper, Mrs. Gross. Give me
Will
your
you...
hand.
What, hand in marriage?
Give me your promise.
If you are really sure.
Quite sure.
Yeah, because he gets the kids off of his hands.
Whatever happens, you must handle it alone.
It's like he knows something's weird with them.
Everything I can to keep the children happy.
I'm loving the cinematography being in the widescreen. It makes your eyes sort of pan left and right across the... Wow. Well, I recognise that place.
Oh, stop! Please, if you don't mind, I think I'd like to walk from here.
It's also set in England. Ooh, I love that shot. I think that was a cut there. That was a really well, probably between two takes. Interesting that she chose to walk through the fields, not on the pathway. Not through the garden, so I should say, not fields. It's the children.
Didn't you hear? Someone is calling your name.
How did she not see her before?
No, I don't think so. I didn't hear anyone.
Isn't your name Flora? I'm Miss Giddens.
Yes, I know.
I like that shot with the reflection.
Are you afraid of reptiles? Because I've got one in my pocket and he's very eager to meet you.
Well, in that case, by all means.
His name is Rupert.
Oh, it's a little turtle. Tortoise.
I've been very excited indeed.
Not as excited as we have, but we will have fun together, won't we?
Yes, we will, dear. I walked from the gate. I wanted to see it all.
Yeah, different. Most people wouldn't.
I expect you'd like a cup of tea. But not you, Miss Flora. Now you
Also got the roaming camera as well.
Along, off you go.
All right.
This is beautifully shot.
I never imagined. Oh, I'm so sorry.
The plants are dying.
Always happening.
Be so beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
Says it's a heaven for children. You have your work cut out.
She certainly looks angelic.
We're always hunting her.
Oh, yes. I heard you.
I thought there was children, not just child.
I heard you. Just now as I was coming through the garden. I heard you call her name.
Oh, not me, miss. Perhaps it was Anna or Cook.
What? No, but she said it was Mrs. Gross. I did wonder about the person that used to be the nanny, what her name was. You know, the previous one that was there before her. I'm thinking that was maybe her then.
You don't mind Rupert sharing a bit of your cake now?
He'll grow too fat to fit your pocket.
He's so cute.
He isn't really mine. He belongs to Miles. Miles is my brother, you know.
There you go, yeah, so there is another child.
He's away at school. He'll be coming home soon.
Not, I should think, until the holidays.
Time you went upstairs and got ready for your bath, Miss Flora.
Hiding the pet away.
You won't go away.
I expect to be here for a very long time.
Unless she's scared off.
And to think what qualms I had. I was so afraid.
Why?
I couldn't make up my mind. Should I accept this post or shouldn't I?
I'm very glad you did.
I didn't have much choice. Their uncle is most persuasive.
Oh, and don't I
Just a
know
little
it. Many's the time he's worked his magic on me. Children are the same way.
He doesn't come down here very often.
No, just more of a bachelor than a father.
What was she like?
Who, miss?
The other governess, the one who died.
Oh, Miss Jessel? Oh, she was a young woman. Not as pretty as you, miss.
He seems to prefer them young and pretty.
Did he had the devil's own eye. That's his way, the master's.
But of whom did you speak first?
Why, the master, of course. There's nobody else. Nobody at all.
He had the devil's own eye.
I mean, is he too as enchanting?
Quite carried away by Master Miles.
Miles is coming! Miles is coming!
No, very well, Miles is at school.
But she's very adamant that the Miles is coming.
Mrs. Gross wanted to give you a big room, and big rooms get bigger at night. Mrs. Gross doesn't know. She shuts her eyes in the dark.
Oh, don't whisper like that. She shuts her eyes in the dark.
I always look in the dark.
Do you?
Haunting figures in the shadows.
I wish there was some way of sleeping in several rooms at once. Mrs. Gross was quite startled by the thought.
Do you know what I find really eerie about this film? Is there's so much gap because of the widescreen that it's really eerie that you're paying attention to one side of the screen and you can't see what's on the other side as much because of...
If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take.
The choice of saying that instead was a little bit weird.
The Lord just leave me here to walk around. Isn't that what happens to some people?
Like a ghost.
Whatever was that?
A ghost.
I'm sure something's been hurt. An animal.
Pretend we didn't hear it. That's what Mrs. Gross always says. Then we won't imagine things.
Look at the doll beside her as well. Creepy.
Sometimes one can't help imagining things.
She's always very prone to imagination. And so far people haven't heard what she's heard, so... Ghosts? Or in her mind? Oh, she looks over, that's going to be creepy. Why are you giving her that really creepy smile? Please don't. It's a sweet smile, I think, but she's having troubled dreams and she's there going... It's the singing we heard before. Miles? Because she can see something. Because she smiled.
Oh, I was just practicing, Mrs. Gross.
There's some letters for you, miss.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, please, can I help you read them?
This one's from my sister. Here's a picture of me and my family together.
Am I buying it.
How could you be? It's in my family.
Now this one.
It's from London.
Unless she is your family.
Is it from my uncle? You do look pleased. Is he coming to see us?
Sent me a letter from Miles' school.
Oh, he's coming home early. Please don't keep giving her that really creepy smile. Oh, sends shivers down my spine when I was here.
Didn't you say last night that Miles was coming home?
It's a lovely spider, and it's eating a butterfly.
So he is coming home. She could read the future. That's a really lovely shot of her. The depth of field. It looked like a split diopter shot.
He just wrote on the envelope, I'm off to Italy for the summer. This is from Miles' headmaster. Deal with it without bothering me.
Oh, that's just his way, miss.
Miles has been dismissed from school.
Dismissed?
Expelled.
Why expelled?
That it is impossible to keep him. That he is an injury to the others.
Oh, stuff and nonsense, you
He
might.
has an injury, or he is an injury to others?
You mean you like a boy with spirit? Well, so do I, but not to the degree to contaminate,
Well, that's a very choice word.
to corrupt.
Oh, miss, are you afraid he'll corrupt you?
Oh, this film is so good at making happy things seem dark and creepy. It seems sweet.
You're Miss Giddens, aren't you? How do you do?
Overly sweet.
And she's awfully nice.
I hope Miles will agree. Come.
There it was again.
Nothing's changed. Oh, I've been longing for these holidays.
Holidays?
What, like he's on a holiday, but he's not?
Flora wrote and told me you were coming.
Did she? How did
Did
she
you
know?
have a good term at school?
Look, Miles, there's the lake.
I hope you won't be lonely with just Flora and Mrs. Gross and me. Were you happy at school?
May I tell you something?
What?
I think you're far too pretty to be a governess.
I think you're far too young to be such a deceitful flatterer.
I keep looking at every corner of the shots, seeing if there's anything lurking there.
It is nice to be home.
Stop, you'll have me out.
I was afraid it might be different.
Oh, it's just as you said. Charm seems to run in the family.
That cruel letter.
Yeah, just seems weird.
I'm not going to spoil his homecoming just because of some silly old school teacher.
Oh, I'm so thankful we're not to have trouble.
She seems like a lovely lady. A resting shoulder for everyone else. I like the nighttime vignette we've got.
Why don't you come in, Miss Giddens?
How did they know? She was... Oh, the
How
footsteps.
did you know I was there?
Suppose to hear the
It's a
footsteps.
very old house. Things creak.
You should be asleep.
I'm much too excited by being home, by seeing Flora and meeting you.
Slingshot.
What do you think about while you're lying awake?
Death.
And tonight, thinking about school, you will not be allowed to go back. Very serious matter for a boy to be expelled from school. I can't think what your uncle will say.
So, don't bother me. I'm too busy.
He's a very well-mannered boy, isn't he?
He doesn't care about me or Flora.
You'd rather cast them off in someone else.
Your uncle has a great many responsibilities and not enough time
To waste any on us.
Basically.
It's a bit sad, though, when people don't have time for you.
I have time. So if there's something wrong, if there's something you want to tell me,
Oh, that's such a beautiful shot as well to show that. The
can't
way
you
they...
see that I want to help you? Trust me.
Everything is so wonderfully done. What is that noise?
The candle's gone out.
Don't be frightened.
Oh, please don't talk like that, please, Miles. Don't be frightened. Everything will be fine, don't worry. At least those plants are alive because they have sunlight. And I guess she... Lovely. Oh, no thanks. But this is stopped. The singing stopped. No, all the birds' noises have stopped as well. Why have they stopped? Oh, the ghost of someone. Shivers. Who was that? This film is so wonderful, wonderfully done. She's going to be there. Oh. Where's the fly? Oh, look at that. The transition and everything. Oh, God, that's so good.
How long have you been here?
I don't know. 20
Was there a man?
The man who was standing here on the tower.
I've been quite alone, except for my greedy friends.
Well, that can't be true.
Perhaps it was me.
No, it was a man.
No, it was a man. Yeah.
He was looking at me.
I expect you imagined it. I hope you won't have to wear spectacles. You're much too pretty for that.
I haven't been sleeping well.
I know. Flora told me. She says you make little groans and moans all night.
Yeah, because she's been watching you sleep.
She invents things. She imagines them.
You mean like poor silly Miss Giddens? Is there anyone living here that I don't know about?
Living here.
In the house, I mean.
Bless you, miss. I wish there were. We could use another pair of hands.
Marty's giving an expedition. He's awfully brave.
Hey, he's very talented. There's a lot of people that can ride horses, but it's dangerous. It's with no supervision. Careful. It's the sound of birds, but there's no birds there.
I didn't know you were watching.
That was very clever, Miles.
What do birds symbolise?
You
Something.
look, Miss Giddens. I can draw too. Miles isn't the only one who can draw.
It's lovely. A vase of flowers.
Goodness, no. It's a thunderstorm. See the clouds and the lightning?
Oh, yes, dear.
A vase of flowers that looks like a thunderstorm that looks like a vase.
Oh, if only everything could go on just as it is now. I love this house.
And so large.
Your house, was that a big house too?
It's very small, I'm afraid.
A little cottage.
Too small for you to have secrets?
Well, secrets were a bit difficult.
Children, please, stop with the weird, creepy looks, please.
Did you play games in your house?
No, we had to be quiet.
Did you play games?
We'd play hide and seek all over the house.
Oh, lovely!
Let's.
Let's do that.
You hide, and I'll seek.
We can go all over the house, can't we? Everywhere, I mean.
No, there's places that are locked. They said it earlier.
Oh, they've won you over, miss, already, I can see.
They have indeed. I'm coming!
Just when she goes, no one said anything. Yeah, I'm just waiting to see, like, oh, that's a lovely shot of the hallway with the light at the end.
Anna?
Oh, Oh, I did not expect to see that. But the ghost even moved the curtain as well. That was creepy. I don't know why, I almost get the feeling, I feel like these probably aren't the voices of the children. Oh, that's creepy. Oh, I don't like those things. I'm not good with jump scares. I know they're not necessarily jump scares, but... Oh, look. Is that the man that was on the roof? Or is that the man we saw earlier with the father? Who's that?
Did I frighten you?
Yes, a bit.
Now you're my prisoner.
Oh, let me go. You're hurting me.
Am I?
Yes.
Now, Miles, I mean it.
Do you? Oh, you found it. Now it's your turn to hide. Hurry, run.
Creepy.
Oh, where shall I hide?
Wherever you like.
Anywhere. Away. Far away.
7, 8.
The haunting sounds of them counting together in unison is... I keep imagining one of them... Wait, were they new? They were new flowers, weren't they? Oh, I wonder what that was behind her for a second. Who's that? I thought... That creeped me out. Who is he, though? Oh, that's a gorgeous shot.
I saw him. Oh, miss. The same man, the man on the tower. The tower. And the hardest, the coldest eyes.
Would you say he was very handsome?
I'm handsome and obscene, but I've seen him before. A picture.
The picture, yeah, in the box.
It can't be. It can't be.
She knows him.
Peter Quint, the master's valet. Miss, you see, he's dead. Quint is dead.
Yep, he's a ghost. Please, children, stop laughing like that. The picture's there, but she didn't put that there. Because didn't she leave it in the box and the children took it? Oh, Jesus. Sounds like chalkboard nails. Oh, it is. Stop that.
Your pencil does have the most terrible squeak.
But I can't help it, you know.
We're doing it on purpose.
She is. Stop it! Stop begging! I'm
Stop it.
Begging! Yes, you are. You're begging for attention. There you are, begging again.
Hush, Miles. Oh, darling.
Miles has got such an older personality, one that's
Oh, what a grumpy old governess.
like an older man that's trapped in a young man's body. It's so weird.
I wonder if you were. No, would I with everything so horrible? Why, it's, the rain. Not being able to go out in the garden.
It's only a bit of rain.
Then let's pretend it's Flora's birthday. What would you like to do?
Have a party. A costume party.
Oh, wonderful.
Miles and I'll go and get all dressed up.
Yes, of course you may.
What are you going to dress up as?
Hurry, hurry, hurry!
Where are you going?
To dress up?
Be mine.
Well, I'll come with you.
No, then there'd be no surprise.
She doesn't want them running off and then scaring her again.
I've let them go.
Go where, miss?
Oh, I've let the children go. Alone.
Is that all?
Oh, I like in the background, the back of the set is like the rest of the hall. It's a painting of the other Eves in the hall.
Pretend it was part of a dream, which perhaps it was.
A dream.
More of a nightmare.
That it was just the darkness. A nightmare.
Hmm.
But it's no, I know I saw him peering in through the window. If I didn't see him, how could I have described him so accurately?
You had seen his picture.
Yeah, but you saw him not so clearly, but at the top of the building before you saw the picture.
How did he die?
Out there, miss, on those very steps. Coldest, blackest winter's night. Steps were icy.
Oh, he slipped.
Late after we were all abed. Late and full of drink.
Oh,
There was a
there.
wound on his head as if he'd slipped. As if he'd fallen out there in the dark. Can't forget his eyes. They were open, filled with surprise.
Like she saw.
Like the eyes of a fox I once saw.
Look at that shot.
But it
God.
was an accident.
Children.
It doesn't do to speak ill of the dead.
Children never mention him.
Oh, no, miss. And neither must you. Not to them.
Look at that shot that the
It was Master Miles that found him. Poor little boy. If you could have heard his screams, seen the way he clung to him and begged him to speak. Poor little boy worshipped Quint.
Worshipped him?
You didn't know Quint, miss. Such power he had over people.
Like an evil power.
It made me sick to see Miles trotting after him like a little dog. They were always together.
Quiet, everyone. The entertainment is about to commence.
Look, miss.
Imagine if it was like the ghost of the guy is now in the boy.
Would you sit there? Would you sit there too? What shall I sing to my lord from my window? What shall I sing, for my lord will not stay? What shall I sing, for my lord will not listen? Where shall I go, for my lord is away? Whom shall I love when the moon is arisen? Gone is my lord, and the grave is his prison.
Is he talking about the guy, the ghost guy? Worshipped him like a lord.
What shall I say when his feet enter softly, leaving the marks of his grave on my floor?
And she's thinking exactly the same thing.
Hum from your prison, hum from your grave.
Yeah, walking right over to there where he died.
Welcome, my lord.
Oh, he knows what he's doing. That look of death.
Look at that.
What, miss?
I was afraid for them.
How do you not notice?
What if Miles knows?
Knows what, Miss Giddens, dear?
Oh, God.
Self saw and heard Miles.
That lingering shot of her. Go away.
Quint and Miles were always together. Couldn't you have stopped it?
The master put Quint in charge here. No one could go against Quint.
You were afraid of him? But what of Miss Jessel? Couldn't she have done something, or was she afraid of him too?
In the beginning, when she first came here, she was always happy and smiling. She and Miss Flora used to dance together, but she changed.
It was the house that did it.
There, you see, I knew they'd be overexcited.
But what did you mean about Quint and Miss Jessel?
There's no point in telling tales of what's over and done with.
Yeah, but could the same happen with her and the ghost of Quint? Whatever it might have been. Even things like the mirror out of the corner of the shot, expected to see something in it. Oh. And the transition of having a shot of what looks like mist before before the actual shot that you want to see.
Tell Miles to let me row.
When you're a little older.
I've got a boat of my own anyway.
Heavenly warm sun.
I like it when it's hot.
Oh, look at that shot again.
He said that once, when he was on the lake, he could see a hand waving on the bottom. But Mrs. Gross said, stuff and nonsense.
What? A hand?
Miss Giddens, can tortoises swim?
No, dear.
Yeah, I don't think it's a split diopter shot. I think that is actually just a very wide aperture shot. You can get depth of field of both areas, but...
Flora, where did you learn that song?
It's her that's been humming it, isn't it?
I don't think I remember.
It's the song from the music box, isn't it?
Oh. There's someone else humming that. She looks like she's in a trance. Oh, creepy as hell. Who is that? She's in a trance looking at her.
Over there.
Who? Oh. Oh, and there's no one there. Oh, and that shot of her by the lake was a screen or a double pass shot. I love that. I say double pass, I mean like they replaced the background or something with the river.
She gave me quite a turn sitting there in the dark. And where are the children?
Upstairs with Anna. I wanted to be by myself for a while. There are 2 of them.
I beg your pardon.
Abominations.
The ghosts.
I saw the other one, a woman dressed in black.
The woman in black.
Miss Jessel.
But Miss Jessel's dead.
That's who it was, Miss Jessel.
She died almost a year ago.
She drowned in the lake.
Flora saw her too.
Did she tell you so?
No, she
was
lied to me.
humming.
I've never known either of the children to tell lies. Or why would they?
Why? Because they are both playing, or being made to play, some monstrous game. I only know that it is happening. Something secretive and whispery and indecent. Children are in dreadful peril.
What are we to do?
Get them away.
You do believe me. You don't think I'm imagining it.
I believe you, miss.
I've been so frightened. I felt so alone. With you to help me, we must try to learn what it is these horrors want. The answer must lie in the past. Were Quint and Miss Jessel
Together.
in love? They were in love, weren't they?
Oh, I suppose that's what she called it, but
One ended themselves because the other one had died, maybe?
there was no cruelty she wouldn't suffer. If he struck her, oh yes, and I've seen him knock her to the floor, she'd look at him as though she wanted the weight of his hand. Crawl to him on her hands and knees, she would, and him laughing at her. Such a savage laugh he had. No woman could have suffered more. Miss, there's things I've seen I'm ashamed to say. Rooms used by daylight as though they were dark woods.
What?
Didn't care that you saw them?
Oh, they were at it.
And the children?
I don't know what the children saw,
Hopefully not that.
but they used to follow Quint and Miss Jessel. There was too much whispering in this house.
Quint, Miles, I can hear them together.
Yeah.
But there was nothing wrong in Master Miles wanting to be with Quint.
He was a very bad influence.
Master Miles is a good boy, miss. There's nothing wicked in him.
Unless they're both deceiving us.
Starting to sound crazy.
Were the children happy?
Sometimes I used to wonder if they really cared for them, those two, or if they weren't just using them.
Like puppets.
Using them.
And now maybe they're using them through death?
And still are. And what happened to her, Miss Jessel?
She grieved till there was something crazy in her eyes. Never slept, never ate.
Oh, that's a great shot of her.
Finally, she died.
Here, blind. But of what did she die?
Drowning, I think.
I suppose you might say a broken heart.
Our local vicar, what sort of man is he?
Oh, he's a very fine sort of gentleman. I mean, if you were thinking of discussing with the vicar what we have been discussing, or I wouldn't, miss.
Why?
Not? It might cause talk, a scandal.
Oh,
Haven't we worse to fear than a scandal?
small place.
Telling the vicar our secrets. He can't help us.
However,
Perhaps the only one who can.
they are meant to keep confidentiality, so... Yeah, I wonder if the Miss Jessel is going through the little girl and Quint is going through the boy.
Laura, it's a secret. You must remember it's a secret.
The whispering secrets. Oh, this is so creepy, but... Watch her. You are slowly becoming insane. Really well done with the imagery depicting what we're thinking and seeing. Yeah. Just like those two are connected in some way, and these two are connected in some way.
I've made up my mind. Right after church, I shall take the next train to London and see their uncle.
Why now?
We can go on no longer without help.
You can't say the children haven't been good.
They haven't been good, merely easy to live with, because they are not living with us. We have no part in their real
I have a
life.
thought in my head.
There are things that I haven't told you.
Right.
Look at them. What do you
They're
think
like-
they're saying?
Children's talk?
They're talking about them, talking horrors.
About Quint and Jessel.
So far, these monsters have kept their distance. but they intend coming closer.
Just imagine him standing in the background somewhere.
Well, what can I say? That his house is being poisoned? That the children are a pair of calculating liars? That they have friends who would frighten them out of their lives if they weren't deeply and forever bound to them? He'll think I'm insane or...
But you want to tell him anyway, so...
Have you told me everything?
I still think... Do what she said. Confession.
How did Miss Jessel die?
Please, miss, we'll be late.
Drowning. She was by the river, so...
Did she die?
And if the guy was where he died...
In wickedness, she put an end to herself. She was found in the lake,
There you go.
drowned.
Yes. Where she saw
I
her.
should never have told you.
I'm glad you did.
The girl already went into the church, didn't she? Oh. Planting dead flowers.
I do wish you wouldn't go, miss. It seems wrong.
Left with no choice.
Can hear a fly. Miss Jessel? Oh yeah, it's Miss Jessel. Don't go closer to her, please. Oh, and she's not there anymore. Oh, is she gonna just be there all of a sudden?
Miss Giddens, are you ready, miss?
I'm not going. Everything has changed.
What? Why are you acting like that?
Where are the children?
Anna's giving them their milk.
What?
Carriage is ready, miss.
From now on, we must never let them out of our sight. She was here. She was waiting for me. She spoke.
No, she didn't. She was crying.
Oh, I could feel pity for her if she herself were not so pitiless and hungry.
Did she? No, she didn't speak, did she?
Hungry for him, for his arms and his lips. But she can only reach him. They can only reach each other by entering the souls of the children and possessing them.
That's what I was thinking.
The children are possessed.
Yeah.
They live and know and share this hell. With or without his help, I think I know how we can save them. They must be made to admit what is happening. One word of the truth from these children and we can cast out those devils forever.
Pray to God you're right, miss.
I'd have said unless they were... This is some weird ruse and they were real people that were pretending to be the dead people. Hence the real tears on the page, etc. I don't think that's it, but just to make her mad. Piano? Who said shush? Oh. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that. Don't ignore it. Yeah, this is weirdly not scary, but it's creepy. I wonder.
Enter softly.
Oh, she's hearing them in the room together. Remember she said they were in random rooms together? Because it's much like you're in this haunted place with her, searching the darkness for these things. Look at the children. Are they in the children's room?
You're hurting me.
What? What was that?
The children are watching.
I might take that back about the scary thing. Oh. Oh god, are you going to see him outside the window again? Oh. I thought there was some significance to the thing banging against the window. The girl's not in the bed. Oh, yeah, it's just that creepy doll.
Flora!
Oh, please don't be seeing like that. That's creepy as well.
Flora!
Somebody is walking in the garden.
Miles!
Whoa, don't shout at him like that, please. Oh, is he looking at the man? Is he going to go up onto the roof? Why would you stop with the... Oh my god. I'm so on edge looking at the girl being so creepy that then everything is... everything is getting me.
What were you doing? You were looking up at the tower. You saw something.
Of course I
What did you see?
Only you, Miss Giddens. I was waiting for you.
Waiting?
What do you mean, waiting for her?
Oh, I knew you'd look out. Don't you want to know why?
Why? Do they both have this...
But I wonder if you'll understand.
I'll try.
Are you cross?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you've been outside.
Come on, I'll tell you when I'm in bed. I wanted you to think me bad for a change.
For a change?
Thought I might be becoming a bore.
No, not a bore.
Tell me the truth.
Good children do get a bit boring, don't they? So I thought, why not go out tonight and wander about in my bare feet? Flora and I arranged it together, but we giggled so. I was sure you must have heard us.
Yes,
She could hear giggles.
I told her to go over to the window. Then you'd be bound to look out and see me. Flora's been bad as well.
What are you hiding under your pillow?
Oh God, what is it?
I'm not hiding it. I'm keeping it warm. I found it this morning.
Oh, I thought, is it dead or just broken?
Its neck.
Neck, yeah.
Looks as though
Someone had broken it.
Broken. Like him.
Kiss me good night, Miss Giddens.
Oh, the ghost of Quint. Don't leave it that long kissing him. Oh, that's a good shot. I'm so impressed with this film. Like the visuals of the kiss lingered and then shock.
I suppose you're telling him what a wicked boy I've been.
it concerns you in part, yes. Isn't that the tune that Flora's always singing? Where's Flora?
She only just walked out, so.
Where's Flora? She's gone. Miles planned it beautifully. Oh, yes, it was very clever. By the lake where we picnic, where we saw Miss Jessel. And at such time, she's not a child. She's an old, old woman.
Yep, Quint was with the boy that night, and she's with her, I think. Yep, she was right. Oh, like the musical box. She got it there with her. Weird that she would have just walked off, left the room that she was in to do this. Maybe not, maybe she's already in a trance. Oh.
Oh, there you are. I thought someone was watching me.
And who did you think it was?
Why, Miss Giddens, you came out without your hat.
So did you.
Yep, you catch a cold.
How did you get here, dear?
In the boat.
All of a sudden. You were only just at the house.
And row, Flora.
Miles taught me. I always come here when I want to dance, when I want to be alone.
Who gave you that music box?
I don't think I remember. I do it was Mrs. Gross.
No, it was not. And where, my pet, is Miss Jessel? You know you can see her.
Stop.
There! You know you can see her. I can't! Admit it!
Oh, that's... The way they've done that shot is so cool.
She's there!
Stop it!
They're gonna start making out like she's mad.
But you can see her. You must!
Playing a game with her.
Anything, I've never seen anything. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Don't look at me,
Oh yeah, she's in black, in the black dress.
I like it when the fire does that. Don't you?
By the way, the kids are brilliant actors. Don't be like that. God, why is she still screaming so much? What is it, the trauma of her?
Now do you believe me?
All my years, and never have I heard such obscenities.
Oh, she's been throwing out obscenities as well.
To hear such filth from a child's mouth, I don't know where she could have learned such language.
Has she mentioned it?
Only to say there was no one there.
And you pretended to believe her.
I didn't have to pretend.
Well, how can you say that?
She thinks it's her.
You two were a complete innocent. You knew them when they were alive, and you knew what sort of influence they were on the children, and it frightened you. When I came here, you were still frightened. I sensed it, because you felt they weren't really dead. Despite all that, you turn on me. All I want to do is save the children, not destroy them.
Could be our imagination.
Child, a happy child, until you made her face
That woman, say it!
bad memory.
You must both go away tomorrow.
Leave you here all alone.
Except for Miles.
Why, except for Miles?
We were together this afternoon,
Yes.
sitting in front of the fire. He didn't say anything, but he wanted to. It was like a pendulum, and I could feel it swinging my way. Oh, yes, he wanted to reveal himself and ask for my help. Don't you understand that?
After today, miss, I doubt I shall ever understand you. It was a cruel
Yeah.
thing, and if you're planning another cruelty...
To wake a child out of a bad dream, is that a cruelty?
The whole Miles thing, that sounds a bit weird.
Waking a child can sometimes be worse than any bad dream.
Yeah, they say that it is bad to wake a child from a dream. Like if you sleepwalk, you're not supposed to.
You and Flora will leave tomorrow. Tomorrow I must be alone here with Miles.
That's just a little bit weird.
May I ask what I am to tell their uncle? The truth. The truth.
What truth? That you're seeming crazy? Or that you just want to be alone with the child? Because from an outsider's perspective, that is weird.
Have you got my letter? To their uncle. I left it on the desk.
I haven't touched it, miss.
Well, I wonder who... Oh, of course. Miles. Went out early this morning, but I shall wait for him. He'll come to me. Give her my love when she's better. Wait till you see Miles again, before you judge me.
A body can only judge themselves. May God be with you, miss.
She thinks there's something odd about her as well. The music build-up was weird there. Yeah, that was a really nice shot of seeing the girl in the carriage. Just don't know why she wanted them to separate the girl. Because of the ghosts pairing with them, maybe? All these lingering shots are so wonderful. Is she not worried that it's now the evening? I was going to say it's now evening and he's not back yet. Oh, maybe that was oh, there he is. So unless that was
So here you are.
a bird going,
Are we having tea in here?
And we can talk together now, like adults.
or that's not him, that's the ghost.
Where are the servants? Did you send them? Or did they take fright and run away?
Yeah.
I'm not a mind reader, my dear. I've told you that before.
The whole my dear thing, I wonder if that's the boy, the man.
Don't worry, there's a man in the house.
Is there?
Yes, me. I'll protect you.
Don't take his hand.
We've got the whole house to ourselves.
He's just toying with her.
There are still the others.
Poor Flora. Has she gone to hospital?
No, just to London. I think Bly didn't agree with her anymore. This house upset her.
I just realised Blythe Manor, is it? I've heard of Blythe Manor in a horror.
She loved this house.
I'm making it sound like not the child.
Poor Flora. She must have been upset to have forgotten Rupert. Why did you want to be alone with me?
I think you know very well.
What do I know?
Why were you in the garden? The real reason.
Beyond me, why you go on asking a fellow questions, when every time he answers you tell him it isn't true.
You are not telling the truth.
Don't shout. Don't be so angry. It makes you look ugly and cruel.
Not cruel.
He's now perspiring as well.
Times, and that's the only reason I'm here is to help you.
Calm down.
Whatever you've done, I'm not against you. I don't think it's your fault.
I haven't done anything.
Why were you sent home from school?
Because I'm different.
You're like any other boy.
And now who isn't telling the truth?
But he's got a bit of the devil inside him, like the lady said earlier.
No, my dear, you don't think I'm like any other boy. That's why you're afraid.
I am afraid for you.
There's nothing.
Isn't there? Why did you take my letter? You did take it, didn't you?
Yes, I took it.
He did.
To see what you said about us.
Us?
Oh,
About me.
oh no, no, you said us. Do you mean
You thanked my uncle for trusting
the man?
me. I heard footsteps. Threw it on the fire.
And did you take other things?
No, I'm not a thief.
What did you do, Miles?
What?
He said things.
What sort of things? Look at the sweat on his face.
Sometimes I heard things.
Yeah, we know that.
And everything was dark.
What?
They screamed. The masters heard about it.
Who screamed?
I frightened the other boys.
That's why he was expelled.
Did you first see and hear of such things?
I made them up.
No, you didn't.
Who taught them to you?
They just came into my head.
I thought maybe the way he was, when he looked across, that was he was looking at him.
I won't ever again, I promise.
Shall I tell you who taught you? The things you've done, the things you've said? Shall I tell you his name?
You don't fool me. I know
Oh,
why you keep
that was
on
a-
and on. Because you're afraid. You're
What?
afraid you might be mad.
Oh, shivers.
Trying to make me admit something that isn't true.
Yeah, he's working through him.
You think you can run to my uncle with a lot of lies. But he won't believe you. Not when I tell him what you are. A damned hussy. A damned dirty-minded
Yes.
hag. We always knew.
Oh my god, that's so good. No, not the thing, not the thing. No, not the tortoise, no. Is he going to run up to the top of the thing? Oh no, slip over. Oh no, I thought he jumped. He didn't, did he? He slipped.
Forgive me.
Hush, darling.
I didn't mean...
Oh, it wasn't you. They weren't yours.
Well, even that shot is...
Forgive me.
No.
Oh, Miles, say it now. Say his name, and it will all be over.
Bad thing you're holding him like that.
But you'll never stop meeting.
You're insane! You're insane!
Unless it is in her head.
Tell me his name!
He's dead!
Look!
And this is all in her mind.
Look! Now he's here!
Oh no, don't hurt the boy.
Say his name!
Where, you devil? Where?
Oh, is he going to speak through him? No, he killed him. Is he dead?
He's gone, Miles.
Or just passed out?
You're safe. You're free.
You're free?
He's lost you forever.
Yeah, because he's dead. The boy is dead.
Miles.
Boy's dead. A little erratic acting, but it was effective. No, don't kiss him. Don't kiss him. No. What are you doing, lady? That was kind of like her saying goodbye. I could see kind of why. Oh, that was so good. That was so good, like so raw, and I could see the imagery of what they were doing with Miles and with the man Quint, was it Quint? And see the reason why Miles was doing what he was doing, but all along thinking, I think this could be in her head, that she's seeing these things happen. That Miles was actually there, like in that last scene, Miles was actually there, probably looked a bit terrified, but that all of what happened was in her head. She could see the statues being a bit ominous and scary and coming to life, I suppose, and then she turns, she sees the man, Quint, and again, all in her head. And in actual fact, she was the one that did it. She was the one that killed him. And I wonder if it's because she had the imagination thing. Did she already know about the man? I'm trying to remember the way the events happened. Did she already know about the man from the devil thing the lady had mentioned? And then when she was outside, she then saw this entity, this silhouette of a man on top of the tower. Then she got confirmation that there used to be this man there. Then she went and saw the picture. She could then put the face to the ghost. I like to think it was a ghost story, but at the same time, I'm kind of erring on the side that I don't think it was actually a ghost story. I think it was in her mind, or it was a bit of both. That maybe it was paranormal. Maybe there were ghosts there. They were playing with her mind, making her a little bit more insane, making it seem like it was her, which is why what happened.
Even though it's a very intimate chamber drama, the sense of movement and dynamic space all the way through the film is extraordinary. In the distant background toward the end of the scene, Flora comes back in, and it's the same shot. The shot lasts, I think, about 2 minutes. It's a shot where the camera and the movement of the camera is an absolute perfect correlative to her state of mind and her kind of sense of excitement.
Well, Jack and I had been great friends for many years, and we spoke movies all the time. And so Jack just let me read the script. You know, people get the wrong ideas about this. Jack and I just discussed the film as a project, and by discussing it, we both see it the same way in our minds. You know, everything I did in the picture was something I do automatically. I very rarely sit down for long periods of time and put my head in my hand and think, how am I going to do that? The actual carrying out the photography is simple because I'm a photographer.
To create such sharp visuals, director of photography Freddie Francis used a lot of huge bright lamps. Deborah Kerr sometimes had to resort to wearing sunglasses between takes. He also had candles custom made with 4 or 5 wicks entwined to produce more light. That's so interesting that that's how they decided to light it.
I had special candles made up, and I think they had 4 or 5 wicks in each candle to give it much more light.
The candles burned down very, very quickly. And so it was very, very difficult to match the candles from one scene to another, because you would come to take 5 or 6 when she would be outside a door, and the candles would have burnt down to very low. But by the time she came into the next scene, they could be high again. But it is a wonderful sequence in the movie. And though to me, when I watch the film, I'm inclined to watch the candles go up and down, nobody else does.
If they hugely light something one side, then they can lower the exposure of it to create that harsher lighting. Genuinely a really, really well-made film from cinematography. The whole aspect ratio being widescreen, like proper letterbox widescreen in the Cinemascope, was such a good touch to it. Different to what I would have expected, but it allowed you to not have this open frame where you're kind of seeing everything, you know, all around, but you're only seeing this wide field of vision. And so you can only look from one side of the screen to the other side of the screen. And because all the action would happen on one end or the other end, especially with a double shot, you're having to look from one side to the other side to be able to see what was happening. It just gave off such an odd and eerie feeling. One that I don't think I've ever experienced in something as yet, because even though I've seen a fair amount of horror films, I've seen thrillers, and I've seen other things that utilize the aspect ratios quite well, I don't think I've seen anything that emulates that. The fact that it was a classic horror style as well. I don't think this is the first film from back then that's to horror that has truly creeped me out. See, I could see that supposedly the children were meant to be paired with these ghosts, and I could see where she was coming from, and it made a lot of sense from the side that we were seeing it from, with her side and what she was hearing. Notice that at one point or another, the housemaid lady, she didn't call the little girl when she was outside at the beginning of the film, which kind of makes you think from the off that, wait, this is in her mind, that this didn't happen, or things were playing tricks with her. And I suppose it would work with the voice of the lady because they were by the water at that point, so that makes perfect sense that the voice that they heard wasn't the housemaid lady at the house, it was actually the lady who drowned. Apologies, I've just finished watching it and I've already started to blank on the names, so that's why I would say the lady that did this or the lady that did that. Deborah Kerr has actually said to have regarded this as her finest performance, which goes to say something if the actor themselves loves it as much as they do. Truman Capote took a break from writing In Cold Blood in order to rewrite the screenplay for this film. Apparently producer and director Jack Clayton didn't want the children to be exposed to the darker themes of the story, so they never saw the screenplay in its entirety. The children were also given the pages the day before they were to be filmed. Capote set aside the novel and in 8 weeks produced the script used for the final film.
Third writer who came on the scene, and the main writer, Jack Clayton, said that he was responsible for 90% of the screenplay as filmed, was Truman Capote. Jack Clayton knew Truman Capote. He'd worked with him when Clayton was associate producer on Beat the Devil for John Huston, which was written by Capote on the run as they made the movie. They got to know each other. So it was Jack Clayton that contacted Capote and asked if he'd be interested in turning the play The Innocents into a proper movie. The film Capote suggests that when Truman Capote got the idea for In Cold Blood and read about this dreadful murder and got to know the murderers, it became an obsession with him such that he didn't do anything else. It took over his life. Well, actually, a year into his research on In Cold Blood, he wrote The Innocents, the screenplay, in Switzerland and sent it in drafts in late 1960 to Jack Clayton.
So when Miss Giddens first arrives at the house, it's a bright sunny day. I think that's the whole point in it being like that, so that it slowly gets dark throughout the film, because Freddie Francis had some of the trees painted lighter to exaggerate the fact that it was a bright sunny day. That's crazy that he painted trees.
Wilfred Shingleton, of course, had been the production designer and had built the facade of Bly House beautifully at Shepperton.
The actual terrace of the house where Pamela Franklin sees the roses, and this wonderful piece of dialogue by Truman Capote where she says, oh, look at this lovely spider eating a butterfly. Very Truman Capote line.
Oh, look, the luggage happy spider and it's eating a butterfly.
That was all studio.
Really, really enjoyed that. Different, weird, creepy, so good. For me, by far the standout in that were the shots. The acting of like the two children was phenomenal. Even the main woman had fantastic acting. The writing was so well done as well. Putting words, specific words and things like "my dear" when the boy was speaking, specific words and sayings into the mouths of the children that would be more inclined to be spoken by someone older than them. Even in those days, I know they would have said some things, but there's a fair amount of what they said at certain times and the creepy smiles and everything that just didn't quite fit the age range, which is what made it a little weird. But again, if it was in her mind, then the children were just saying those things. It also goes to show that she is hearing more than we think, because when the woman is sat at the table after the ghost lady has been crying, she says to the housemaid lady that, oh, she spoke to me, but she didn't speak to her, and she knows about these things. But you could tell from even before that scene that the housemaid lady was going, I think you might not be right. I feel like there might be something wrong, especially when she said she wanted to be left at the house alone with the boy. For me, felt very weird. Yeah, this was the bit I was a little unsure of in the film, and it was one of the points that I also reference when I'm watching it and go, what, so they are real or they're not real? Or so according to Gerald Clark's biography of Truman Capote, screenwriter Capote felt that the scene where Miss Giddens touches the teardrop of Miss Jessel in the schoolroom was a huge mistake, and he regretted writing it. He believed the audience should never really know if the ghosts were real or a figment of Miss Giddens' imagination. That was pretty much exactly what I was thinking, and that's kind of what made me rethink whether or not they were meant to be ghosts or if they were real people and pretending they were ghosts and it was all a big ruse to make her seem crazy. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the first films in a while that I have thought that the jump scares that were there, whilst they were minuscule, they worked. They weren't there for the sake of, oh, here's a jump scare, this is a horror, we scare you. They were there to show her anxiety and fear of the place that she was in. Like when the man's face comes towards the window, it was that slow creeping horror, which I much prefer because it's all in your mind where that horror comes from, instead of just having a jump scare shoved down your throat every 2 seconds and be like, wait, you're scared, which just is not effective whatsoever. But the ones that they did were very few and far between. Oh, I had no idea of this. This is such a random piece of trivia. I never would have thought that these two films would be paired together in a trivia piece. Yeah, so during the cursed video in The Ring 2002, about 25 seconds in, a young boy's muffled singing can be faintly heard. That audio track is taken from this film. What? Second build for contractual requirements, Peter Wyngarde does not even have a single line of dialogue and only appears in the movie for a handful of short scenes that total far less than 1 minute's runtime. He was second build? What the heck?
The combination of the real location near Brighton and Sheffield Park and the set represented exactly what Jack wanted. There was a sort of feeling of space in as much as the place, the house and the grounds were large, but there was an enclosed feeling as well on the interiors.
Oh, no, this would have been so good. You know how much I love this guy. Producer and director Jack Clayton turned down the offer of Cary Grant to play the uncle. Cary Grant would have been amazing. I'd love to have seen him in that role. It's one of those films that I feel like I could talk about and discuss for hours because it's got such a unique feel to it. Oh, and also they mentioned Blythe. I wondered if that was because I've heard in another horror film, I presume, Blythe Manor. So I don't know, is that Blythe Manor or is that a different place? The thing I'm thinking of is Bly Manor. I've always thought it was Blythe Manor. To me, the name Blythe sounds better than Bly anyway. So this is actually really interesting. Do you remember what I said at the beginning of the film? And I was a little bit confused as to why it started on the black screen for so long. Well, apparently when the film opens with the creepy song, which is written by Paul Den and George Ulrich, I think I say the name, sung over a black screen for about 45 seconds before the 20th Century Fox logo appears, but in some cinemas, the projectionists assumed this was a mistake on the print and edited the movie. Who the hell edits the movie that comes straight into their cinema? Wait, does that happen often? That feels like sacrilege to films to me. But yeah, they would edit the movie to take out that bit at the beginning and just have the appearance of the Fox logo being the first part of the film. Can you imagine that someone did that nowadays? There would be uproar that you've changed the film. But to be fair, films always seem to start with the logos anyway. That bit with the song at the beginning kind of feels like it was just tagged on.
I don't recall that it was a difficult film to cut, but it was very difficult getting the effects right. For example, the Quint appearance at the window.
I remember there being a lot of discussion on the set when that scene was shot, how to bring him in. I think there were sort of like roller skate wheels on a little tray so that he was rolled into the window.
I've just realised why it's called The Innocents, because the children were innocent all along. I did wonder what the title was about, but that makes perfect sense now after seeing it. Puts into context that it is in her mind and it isn't just ghosts. Or it could be saying that all the children were just innocent all along and the ghosts took advantage of them. But I think that's trying to say that the children were innocent all along and it was all in her mind. Producer and director Jack Clayton was dismayed to learn that the 20th Century Fox insisted on making this movie in Cinemascope. Oh no, I love that. I love the Cinemascope aspect of this. I mean, yes, you don't get as much of the frame, but I feel like it adds to the film because you're constantly searching. Like I've said, you're constantly searching that little frame. It feels creepier. Cinematographer Freddie Francis set about making that less of a problem by framing the wide horizontal frame with lots of vertical lines to break it up. Oh, that's a good idea. Conversely, he also used the wide space to emphasize shadowy spaces and using the emptiness towards an unsettling effect. Yeah, because using the shadows as well also creates like a blackness around the character so you don't quite notice that it's in that widescreen too much. And personally, I kind of liked it because it almost felt claustrophobic in some ways, where it pushed you into a sense of unease because there was less of a screen to see, so you didn't know what was hiding out of the frame on the top and the bottom, but you could see so much from left to right in the frame. To that end, he would often place characters at opposite ends of the frame. Yes, there you go. Personally, I really like that creative choice.
I used filters at the side so that I could close the picture in, because it was in Cinemascope, as you know, and occasionally we didn't want it that wide, so I would shadow it in a bit from the sides.
When Miss Giddens wanders around the house at night with only a candelabra for illumination, you might think you see something in the corner of your eye. You do. It's the clapperboard which had briefly wandered into shot. There was a bit. Do you remember? I kept saying at one point, I was like, oh, I keep thinking I can see something, and that must have been what it was. I did not notice it was the clapperboard. That's such a funny little detail. Producer and director Jack Clayton decided to keep it in because he liked the idea of something almost subliminal being present to add the air of unease. Yes, that's what I love to hear. You know, we said about the lights earlier. Well, director of photography Freddie Francis used so many lights that he was jokingly accused of trying to burn down Shepperton Studios. Absolutely incredible job on that. The lighting as well in some of those scenes where they were shot really well. And with these older films, I tend to say that quite a bit. But with the cinematography and the lighting kind of paired together really well. Don't forget, if you want to check out the full uncut reaction to it, you see it over on the Patreon page or as a YouTube member as well, along with other uncuts that I've done for other classic films as well. On YouTube, I've got a playlist of my classic films that I've done and brought to the channel. And over on Patreon as well, there is a collection of classic film uncuts as well. Oh, by the way, I saw a behind the scenes photo earlier that blew my mind. Well, that location there is actually a set. It's not outside at all. It's in the studio. I had no idea. They do shoot at the actual house and the garden, but yeah, that part of it is on a set. Maybe it's because it was nighttime and they needed specific lighting for it, and it was just a lot easier to shoot it in a studio.
Clayton started adapting it and found there was a play written by William Archibald called The Innocents, which had opened the Playhouse Theatre in New York in 1950. And the play was owned by 20th Century Fox. And that was Fox's way of holding the copyright of The Turn of the Screw. So the first port of call in adapting The Turn of the Screw was William Archibald. The play was set entirely in the drawing room of Bligh House, and it was basically a four-hander: governess, Mrs. Gross, two rather irritating children. But crucially in the play, it's absolutely clear that the ghosts exist. At one point, Miss Jessel puts out her hand and holds the hand of little Flora, and Miles, towards the end, actually communicates with Quint. So there's a reality to the ghosts, and it's a kind of shock horror play with a barnstorming performance at its centre of the governess, who was called Miss Giddens in the play.
Turn of the Screw was published in 1898. The story in this movie takes place over 30 years earlier in the 1860s. Deborah Kerr's costumes, as well as the narrator in James's novel, who reads a manuscript relating Miss Giddens' story, makes it clear that the ghostly events took place 3 decades earlier. So, in the 1860s, instead of 1898.
The film is based on a play which was written by William Archibald, an American, but when it came to adapting the script, he was unhappy with Archibald's play script. And he turned to a variety of English writers, including John Mortimer, who did a version of it. And finally, he turned to Truman Capote, which was a stroke of genius, really.
Oh, I didn't know this. Kate Bush was inspired by this movie to pen the song The Infant Kiss, which appears on her 1980 album Never Forever. This song.
Clayton worked with Archibald for a month, adapting the play into a screenplay. But he found that it was rather static, a 3-act kind of performance, and it hadn't broken out. And crucially, there was no filmic equivalent of the wonderful, rich, overripe prose of Henry James. You had to have some visuals or something that was the kind of metaphorical equivalent of that kind of writing. But also, you had to alter the pace. It's rather a monotonous pace in The Innocents. But Clayton loved the title. He loved the title because it implies that everyone in the film is in fact an innocent.
The cinematography is so admired, aspects of it were imitated many years later in Nine Inch Nails' video for The Perfect Drug. I did not know that. Most notably the man on the tower scene. Oh wow. See, I've never really been a Nine Inch Nails fan. I've never really heard their music, so I've not known that. But that's so interesting. So Megs Jenkins also later reprised her role as Mrs. Gross in The Turn of the Screw from 1974, in which Michael Redgrave's daughter, Lynn Redgrave, played the governess, Miss Jane Cubberley. Oh, originally there was a policy to say that all Cinemascope features should be shot in colour. This was one of the features that led to 20th Century Fox reversing that policy. I'd had no idea that was even a thing, that Cinemascope was meant to be, in colour, properly Technicolor at the time, and only that. And this was one of the ones that reversed that idea. Oh, by the way, one of my absolute standout favourites in this film is Pamela Franklin, who plays Flora. There's a look when she's at the bandstand type thing with Miss Giddens. There is a shot of her looking terrified. By the way, just to reference as well, talking of the actors within this film, the actor who plays the little boy, Martin Stevens, actually then went on to play in Village of the Damned in 1960, and that is something we've also watched for the channel. Currently it's only available as an uncut, but when I was watching this film, I was going, oh my god, that kid is so creepy. And I think you guys requested Village of the Damned potentially because of Martin Stevens, and I'm so glad you did, because when I watched that film, oh my god, he is just amazing at that creepy acting.
Leave us alone.
I just had to bring it up because it was Martin Stevens, and I had actually seen this film before I watched Village of the Damned, but now editing this, I have now seen Village of the Damned since. And I had to take a pause when I was watching it going, wait, where have I seen this kid before? And then found out that it was that it was the kid from this, and I went, oh my god, what?
So having worked for a month with William Archibald, then Jack Clayton contacted various friends and acquaintances of his, including Harold Pinter, who gave him some advice on how to adapt it in a filmic way. Crucially, Harold Pinter said, avoid flashbacks. The original idea was to have flashbacks of Quint and Miss Jessel and their life before the story begins. Don't have flashbacks, said Pinter, because no one will believe in the ghosts if you do. So the second writer was John Mortimer, who was brought in for 3 weeks to Victorianize it, to make the language sound more convincingly 19th century. And he remembers, even now, 1 or 2 lines, treating the bedrooms in daylight as if they were dark woods.
I noticed this. Do you remember I said when she was stood at the thing by the lake, and I said, funnily enough, she's also dressed in black, like Miss Jessel? This says, yeah, early on in the story, Miss Giddens describes her predecessor, the wayward Miss Jessel, as a woman in black. And then for much of the film, Miss Giddens is wearing other clothes, not black clothes, but like pure white costumes, brightly coloured outfits, and then it progresses slowly to her wearing darker clothes until eventually she's wearing all black at the very end.
As the story progresses, Deborah Kerr's costumes change as well. She has about 5 wonderful outfits that you could argue are a little bit too affluent for someone who comes from a rural vicarage, but never mind, they look wonderful. I guess it's something to do with The King and I, which was made in 1956, where she also wore bustle skirts and played a governess. Maybe there was a reprise of that. But as the film goes on, she dresses more and more in black velvet, until towards the end, in the last third of the film, she comes more and more to resemble Miss Jessel, as Miles, the little boy, comes more and more to resemble Quint.
Oh, there you go. So the backdrop is Sheffield Park in East Sussex, England, which serves as the setting for the stately home, Sheffield House, and gardens in the film. The garden, originally designed by famed landscaper Capability Brown. What a name. Capability Brown. That doesn't even sound like a name of a person. It sounds like the name of a company.
Sent out his location hunters towards the end of 1960 to find the ideal location for Bly, this place that seems Gothic in the mind, but actually is a sunlit paradise when you get here, but which can come to seem more and more sinister. And eventually, he saw an article about Sheffield Park in a travel magazine. It was a house built in the 1770s by the architect James Wyatt in the Gothic Revival style. So you've got turrets and pointed windows and Gothic-y effects on the outside. It's actually quite an early Gothic Revival house. Interestingly, the interior of this house is classical. Very straight up and down, very geometric, lots of pillars. But the interior of the house in the film was constructed at Shepperton Studios. And what they did was make an interior that looks like this exterior. It was Pugin Gothic, these arched windows, a round skylight, and lots of dark panelling, the feeling of living in a vast vicarage with 27 bedrooms.
It came under the control of the National Trust and was turned into a popular visitor attraction. The house itself was subdivided into 12 apartments in the 1980s. Wait, so you mean there's now apartments within the house in which this film was filmed? Okay, if anybody out there lives in those apartments, I feel for you. With this film being out there and being so creepy, it'd be interesting to find out what life is like there now.
And they were shooting the film in January through to April of 1961. The story by Henry James is set in June and takes you through to the autumn, and you get this sense of the bright sunlight, the sultriness, the closeness of the weather at the beginning of the story, through to the withered wreaths of flowers and dead leaves that you get towards the end of the story as autumn comes along. But it was supposed to be set in June, but they made it in January. So they had to bring with them rose bushes. Roses are really important in this film.
No. Megs Jenkins was only 4 years older than Deborah Kerr. You're kidding. Okay, that I had no idea.
The uncle at the beginning wears a white rose in his buttonhole. There's rose bushes everywhere in the garden. The first thing that Deborah Kerr does when she goes into the house at Bly is to look at a bowl of roses and one of the petals falls off. Everything looks beautiful, but it's decaying. And in fact, there's a whole series of dissolves in the film which are punctuated by a shot of a vase of roses in between them. So white roses were brought with them. What they'd have had in the summer here would have been rhododendrons and azaleas, which is what this garden's famous for, and lots of greenery. But most of the flora and fauna was actually brought with them. In fact, there's a shot of poplar trees pointing upwards in the film when Miles races his horse, and I don't think the poplar trees are in this garden as well. So it's a wonderful garden laid out by Capability Brown and Humphrey Repton in the 18th century, with different plateaus and different lakes and so on. It's a classic of garden design, but they had to make it look like the Garden of Bly, or rather the Garden of Bly as depicted by Truman Capote.
Ooh, technical bit of information there, but director of photography and feature director Freddie Francis expanded his kit with a group of lens filters specifically acquired for this film. Some were reportedly custom made to his specifications.
Throughout the film, the edges go in and out, and without obviously noticing, they don't go completely black, they just go dark. One or two filters I just roughly painted on glass and put them in front of the lens.
Hauntingly photographed by Freddie Francis, who invented the Francis filter, which was a way of vignetting the edges of the frame since they only discovered they were making the picture in Cinemascope just before they went into production.
Oh, two of Michael Redgrave's children and one of his grandchildren later appeared in different adaptations of the same story. As we found out earlier, his daughter Lynn Redgrave played the governess, Miss Jane Cubberley in The Turn of the Screw. His son Corin Redgrave played the professor in The Turn of the Screw 2009, and his granddaughter Jolie Richardson played Darla Mandel in The Turning 2020. What a strange coincidence and weird set of events for them all to be in different versions of it.
John Mortimer invented a scene to bring the uncle back halfway through the film, to watch a cricket match, to go to the nearby village, to go to a pub. And Miss Giddens was trying to say to the uncle, I've got something to talk to you about. I've seen these strange apparitions, and why was Miles expelled from school? Rightly, I think, they cut that sequence before they filmed it, because it introduces a world outside Bly House.
Oh, Joe Dante cites this as his favourite horror film. Hilariously enough, as of filming this, I have just watched Gremlins. Yes, I know I am watching my Christmas films early, but yes, I've watched Gremlins, which is directed by Joe Dante. So I was thinking, why does that name sound really familiar? And the reason why is because I've literally watched it 2 days ago. The uncut to that will be up on Patreon soon, by the way, and it will hopefully be coming out this Christmas to the channel itself.
I'll bet every kid in America would like to have one. They might even replace the dog as the family pet.
Oh, I didn't know this. Martin Stevens had already worked with Deborah Kerr on Count Your Blessings from 1959, and he played her son in it. That must have been really weird in this then. He had to act like he did to her, and the whole kissing scene as well. Ugh.
The main difficulties on Cutting of the Innocents was making sure that the children were not overplaying. Jack and I were very cautious about choosing the material.
Ah, there's a reference to Reverend Fennell, and Albert Fennell was the executive producer of this film.
Our local vicar, what sort of man is he?
The Reverend Fennell? Oh, he's a very fine sort of gentleman, Miss.
Okay, this is a fairly big bit of trivia, but I feel like I really want to read it out because it's to do with the film editor, Jim Clark. I do actually have a piece of media with Jim Clark talking about his experience with the film. I believe that's from the Criterion release special features for this film.
I wanted the pigeons to reveal Quint. If you look at the film, you will see that I've stretched the pigeon shot so that it's in slow motion. Did you see it? Did she see it? Was it real? Was it not real?
But here's the big bit of trivia that I've got about Jim Clark. So this movie was the big career break for who would become a veteran film editor. And by the way, if you wonder why I'm mentioning the film editor and shouting him out so much, and I also mentioned him at the beginning of the film as well, and I tend to do that quite often with film editors, it's because I re-edit their films. Their job is to edit the film, and then I come along and I re-edit the entire thing when I'm making these videos. So I always try and give them a shout out when possible, just because I really respect their work. Anyway, we're talking about film editor Jim Clark. He and Jack Clayton became friends and regular drinking buddies during the production because they were both recently divorced and living near each other. In his 2010 memoir Dream Repairman, Clark described the editing of this film as an easy and pleasurable experience, largely because of producer and director Clayton's meticulous approach to filmmaking. Clark also explained how he created unusually long crossfades for the scene transitions. Yes, I noticed that. Do you remember I kept going, there was a shot of Flora that just lasted ages, and I was going, oh my god, it was creepy. When I was watching it, it just made it all the more creepy, seeing her face just lingering, smiling, demonically almost. Yeah, they ran 4 or 5 times longer than the standard 4-foot dissolves. I'm glad I made mention of that because it really did stand out to me, and it was a very good technique to make things seem eerie. Yeah, he often included a near subliminal third element in the crossfades. Yes, I mentioned this at one point in the film. I noticed it when there's a window shot of the garden. We then see smoke as a crossfade, and then we also see the garden as another crossfade, so it almost makes you a little bit confused, like, oh, what are we going to see? Because we see the trees. Fascinating that he did that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was all of the trivia. I hope you really enjoyed this film reaction and this video in general. By the way, I just want to say thank you to watching until this very point if you have seen it until now. So with that being said, with all my film reactions, I tend to give you guys a secret phrase, so it's a secret way for you guys to let me know that you have watched it all the way until the very end. So The secret phrase for today is actually the name of the song that the children sing throughout this film, which is Oh Willow Wally. That's Wally with a 1L, by the way, and Willow with 2 L's. So yeah, feel free to comment that down below, and that will secretly let me know that you guys have watched it till the very end. Let me know your thoughts down below as well. What was your favourite moments of this film, and did you have any standout actors that you really enjoyed in this, or any standout moments? By the way, feel free to like the video if you did like this kind of thing. It helps to let me know if you do like this, and feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. It is absolutely free, and it would be a pleasure to see you again sometime in the future. Plus also, you can join our community of absolute film lovers. Oh, by the way, we also have a Discord where you can chat about films and TV shows, etc. If you got to this very stage of the video, then thank you so much for watching. You've been amazing, and I very much appreciate it. Don't forget, if you do want to check out the full uncut reaction to this, you can see it over on the Patreon page or as a YouTube member as well. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. If you're still here to the very end, then thank you so much, and also a huge thank you to my wonderful patrons: Roger C. Griffith, Douglas Collier, Terry V, Miggy Love, Chris Holmes, Jojo, Thomas Masters, Shoehorn1234, Res, Patrick Durr, Andrew Blount, Carlos, Marla Mize, Rob, Chandra Blair, Scott, Paul Zawicki, Randy, Kirsten, Juan Pablo Camero, JL, Maggie, Freya Alexandra, Milo, Miranda, Edna, Gina Aman, Tess Avaland, Olivia, Maria Stoicheva, Neno, Megan Janoviak, Rainy Tomo, Strawberry Tree, Kirsten Bailey, Boobly Boo, Louise Vanderhoven, Aubrey Terry, Wraithist, Heidi Steele, City D, Bumblebee, Joshua, Jesse, Rena Burra, Meet, Lolita Verbakovskia, Eli, Holly Jeffries, Alenka Hafner, HM Garth, Chloe Grover, Neb, Kyle Baker, Abby Barker, Tom Tattershall, Kristen Olds, Tilly Chum, Laura Hutchison, Tara M. Will Coxon, Sazzy Nation, Ferdinand Pitchard, Jim McKay, Sphere, Mel Days, Fran in the Pen, BG, Tara, Rags and Muffins, Nameless Human Being, Deb, Philippa Chapman, Emily, Panda, David Wayne Fox, Jessica Asakovich, Sue Pro, Naja in Workshop, Mike Tunnicliffe, Wolfgang Wolf, Lee, Harvey, Ankame, Aninya, Evan G, Violet Aurora, Pamela Chandler Rash, Scott Howard, Joshua, Robert Williams, Steve Webster, Amanda, Lipaz, Jamie Dodds, King, Happy Go Lucky, Caitlin, Analytical Guy, Maria Torres, Cliff Adams, Jonathan, Dirk, Annie Bonds, Crystal Appleby, Scorpius, Monica Murphy, Sebastian St-Ange, Varga, Leslie McKittrick, Nick Stark, Number 1 Carez, Jen, Biff McKeldin, Birgit, Stephanie Collins, Emily, Ken Duncan, Max, Helena Klitsch, and Amy Quattlebaum. If you'd like to see more videos, there's some more on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you next time.